Portsmouth, the naval city and home to HMS Victory. A city steeped in history which today flags away the start of the 1993 Kellogg's Tour of Britain. In 11 months' time, these same streets will welcome the Tour de France as the city hosts a stage start and the finish. Yesterday, outside the Guildhall in the heart of the city, the riders opened their visit with a 90-minute race around a 1-kilometre circuit. Isambard Brunel Road, Winston Churchill Avenue and Guildhall Walk resounded to the rumble of lightweight bicycles. In the end, it was a battle between 7 men, and the Belgian rider Hendrik Redant, third in the Kellogg's Tour last year, gave due warning this time with a narrow victory over milk race winner Chris Lillywhite. And here outside the Guildhall in the city of Portsmouth this morning, the riders are now making their final preparations for today's opening stage of 5 days of top-class racing as the riders prepare now for the long journey to Liverpool. The weather has changed considerably. Gone is the warm sunshine, and instead it's rather chilly and extremely windy. The first stage taking the riders to Bath via Brassknocker Hill. Tomorrow they will cross the River Severn and race for a full day in Wales between Cardiff and Swansea. Then the riders will restart at Newport on Wednesday, the longest stage this, 124 miles, taking them to Coventry. Then they'll face 2 days in the Pennines and Peak District Mountains of the north. They'll ride from Birmingham across to Manchester and then from Bradford to the big finish in Liverpool. This year the race is generously sprinkled with stage winners from the Tour de France and former world champions. There's Phil Anderson, a former winner of the Kellogg's Tour of Britain and this year a winner of the Tour of Sweden. Thierry Claverola, who's also won the King of the Mountains in the Tour de France. And of the other stage winners in that race, Peter de Klerk of Belgium, Jesper Skibby of Denmark, the former world champion Moreno Argentine of Italy, Sean Yates of Britain, former leader of the Tour de France Steve Bauer from Canada, Jean-Claude Colotti of France, and the man on form, the ex-world champion and World Cup leader, and 16 wins under his belt this year, Maurizio Fondriest of Italy. The man who defends his title here is Max Schiandri from the Motorola team. Schiandri won by 6 seconds last year, and the yellow jersey he took home now hangs with pride at his home in Italy. He's back to win again.
Yeah, I like to race in England because it's a race and it's kind of a little vacation because I get to see all my relatives and friends and come back to England.
Now, you won the race last year. Is the pressure on? Do you want to win again?
Yeah, obviously, I want to do well because I have number 1 and I want to try and win again, but it's not that I'm going to really get stressed out for that. I'm just going to see today and tomorrow, I think, the most important days, and then see how they go and see what comes.
Well, it won't take long before we know the answer now. The rollout this morning from Portsmouth, 87 riders signing on. And Max Schiandri, by the way, having just purchased a fast sports car, which he's enjoying using this past week. This is the route the riders now face. The first climb will be Portsdown Hill, on through Stonehenge, Devizes, Brassknocker Hill before the finish, and then down into Bath. 105 miles. And the famous landmark of Portsmouth, HMS Victory, in the harbour there, as the riders now about to pedal by it.
The racing conditions for today, well, a few showers expected later on, but with a high of 18 degrees Celsius, the riders shouldn't have too much to worry about.
So on the outskirts of Portsmouth now, the official start of the 1993 Kellogg's Tour. A rider here steering a little bit of a march, but they'll all come together again. And a bit of fun here by the last 2 winners of the Kellogg's Tour.
Okay, 1, 2, wow, 1, 2, 3, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You win.
Now on to Portsdown Hill. This is the first climb of the day and the sprint for the summit. The first mountain in the King of the Mountains competition. Well, it's hardly a mountain, but it's going to be a good race. Andy Bishop here in the centre of Motorola and being challenged all of the way by Tim Harris. Tim Harris has got the lead, and this is now Andy Bishop making a run for him. Tim Harris, former British champion, now being pipped by the American Andy Bishop on the line. So a win for Andy Bishop. He gets the first point, 4 points. Harris second, and Zen of the Lamprey team third, and Pascal Lance of France and the Gant team in 4th place. A good start for Andy Bishop.
Well, I think Marco Zen was going for the wrong line there. That's what happened. But now the riders go off the top of the moors down here with a tailwind. It should be a fast attacking race.
And already the riders are starting to move away from the field here just to test the strength of one or two of the race, to see what mood they're in. It's a long way to Bath. We're some 5 miles covered, and this is Chris Lillywhite having a go. Well, Lillywhite has gone clear, and there's been absolutely no resistance at all from the field.
Well, nobody wants to go after him. There's an awful long way to go to the finish, and they know there's some big hills at the end. And in fact, I think what Chris Lillywhite is going to want is for a group to come up to him.
Well, Lillywhite's made a move. This is Andy Bishop at the back of the race here, so he's fallen right behind to talk to his team manager, Henny Kuiper. And that'll probably be to check on Lillywhite, who's gone clear, and the first time check 47 seconds. So, Paul, I don't think Lillywhite would want this, but they've let him go and nobody has come to him.
Well, he's in a strange situation now because he's got a breakaway and he's got nobody chasing behind him. So what he's going to have to do is just try and wait and see if somebody will react. But I really don't think he wants to be on his own at the moment.
Well, at least a small reward here in Romsey, because this is the first sprint of the day, the Ordnance Survey special sprint, and a small time bonus there of 3 seconds. And remember, this race has always been won by a few seconds. And look at the lead now, 2 minutes 33, and the roads, my goodness me, the roads are so greasy now with the rain that Lillywhite was very lucky there to come out of that bend at all. So, Alan Piper, our man on a motorbike today, let's hear what he's got to say of the attack.
We're only on the first day of the Kellogg's Tour this year, and the Lamprey team is already getting nervous. Chris Lillywhite's out in front there, and here we've got the Lamprey team chasing already. Nobody's got the yellow jersey, so they must really have faith in Maurizio Fondrian. Tomorrow, with the cobbled stage, the cobbled finish at the end, it's going to be a showdown.
And Alan Piper there thought that when he retired from cycling last year, he wouldn't be riding a bike in the wet again, Paul.
But at least Piper's at the front of the race, and he really is getting a feeling for it, because in fact the chase by the Lamprey team is having an effect at the moment, and the lead is dropping 1 minute and 15 seconds for Chris Lillywhite, who takes time to have a quick check to see where he is.
Well, it's not good news. This is turning out to be a little bit of a nightmare here. We're now at the sprint at Romsey, and this is from the peloton, and it looks like big Hendrik Redant here who's trying to come through at Romsey. And there's the confirmation that Lillywhite's already through. Christophe Capel it was who just pipped Redant on the line. But the riders reforming at the front, while this is a crash at the back, and in fact it's the Koolstrop rider, Benjamin van Itterbeek, former champion of Belgium, who's gone down and appears to have hurt his arm. And in some pain here too. Well, these are the risks you take when the weather is so bad and the roads are so greasy at the moment. But the man who's out in front and now climbing Dean Hill is Chris Lillywhite.
Quite a strange performance at the moment, because Lillywhite was almost caught at 1 minute. I think all those crashes at the back of the field are giving him the advantage, and he's starting to go clear again. As we come to the top of the next climb, he's going to go over and take maximum points in the King of the Mountains competition.
So that's going to give him a lift up in 2 competitions in this race on the road at the moment. But this is the elbow of Ben van Itterbeek, who won the stage in the Tour du Pont in America earlier this year. And now he's going to have to fight to get back on, but I think his team will drop back to help him. This is the field now moving up Dean Hill, and Andy Bishop, the winner of the first climb at Portsdown Hill, is now trying to get second best on the climb here. Nice round of applause from a generous crowd who standing in the rain, as over the top goes Andy Bishop. Well, he'll get the second place behind Chris Lillywhite. And who got the third? Well, it was Heinz Imbuden, who's ridden well in this race before. Harry Lodge finishing 4th.
Well, it's nice for Harry Lodge to be up there, because today he'll actually be racing in front of his home crowd, and there are a lot of supporters out on the road today shouting for him.
So on the outskirts of Salisbury, this beautiful town with its magnificent spire, and this is the 2 chasing riders, in fact, who are now trying to get across up to Chris Lillywhite. Well, they need some help, and this might be just the breakaway that they will need. Chasing here is Danny Verest in the La William colours, that's the white jersey, and John Tanner, a new professional here for the Nielsen Tivoli team. Now this could be the help that Lillywhite requires.
Well, I think this is what he's been waiting for all day, because certainly didn't want to be out there all on his own, because it's a very hard day. In fact, they've come across to him at the same time when the bunch was almost upon Lillywhite. These 2 riders have gone clear.
Now here's Van Itterbeek, and he's finally re-caught the field on the outskirts of Salisbury, and that is a superb piece of riding, because that arm looks quite painful indeed. So now to the front in the Ordnance Survey sprint, and Chris Lillywhite finding his way to the front here to Pip Verelst on the line. He'll get another 3 seconds time bonus here. Maximum points at this sprint series so far for Lillywhite. That should ensure him in a leader's jersey tomorrow. And the rider missing there is the third man, John Tanner. He's just punctured in fact, but he still comes over in third place to claim 1 point.
It's an interesting mood for Lillywhite because he's now got those 6 seconds lead. If he can stay with the rest of the field, he can take the yellow jersey this evening.
Well, the lead is at 1 minute, but the main field more concerned with the conditions than they are, in fact, with that breakaway. They're keeping them well under control as the race now approaches Stonehenge. What a magnificent sight from our helicopter as the riders are now clear of Salisbury and making their way on towards Devizes. And here's the latest news, and they're still going up, so the rider's sitting up a little bit. They've conceded another 1.5 minutes, and this rider, Verelst, is doing most of the hard work.
He's a big, strong boy. He's ridden a lot of Comesses. His team did not take part in the Tour de France this year, but really, they're the riders who've got the speed for this kind of break, but it looks behind as if the chase has started. In fact, it's the Gann team from France who are at the front there. That's Pascal Lance, followed by Thierry Claverola.
Two riders who know all about the Tour de France now setting the pace here, and because of this concerted effort, the gap is beginning to tumble. Steve Bauer going through there as well. Now the Motorola team are willing to take part in the chase as well. And look at Steve taking a note there of Stonehenge. He's probably never seen it before. He wonders what it is.
He maybe come back in a couple of years' time and take a photograph, but the pressure really is on here at the moment.
Andy Bishop and Frankie Andreo. So the gap is coming down. Let's find out exactly what has happened. And 40 seconds, it's tumbled down. Once the field's decided, then they don't waste much time, do they?
Now the pressure really is on. I think before we get to the bottom of the next few climbs, they want to get it all back together so we can have a proper race over the climbs. The climb of Brassknocker Hill will be a very big race today.
And quite honestly, the Gann team could do with a big win, and that might be why they're working so hard here, along with the American Motorola team who've won this race for the past 2 years. But there are the three fugitives up front, and it's the first time the main field will have sighted Chris Lillywhite for 71 miles, because that is how long he has been out in front, only being joined in the last 20 miles by his two riders with him there. All of the riders are together as the riders now head off towards Devizes and the big challenge of the day, which will be Brassknocker Hill, coming just before the long descent down into the city of Bath, which indeed has a sting in the tail and an uphill finish. We'll take a short break. And welcome back to the opening stage of the Kellogg's Tour of Britain on the road to Bath today. We're now in Devizes, and right at the head of this long line of riders are all together is the sprint for the third and final sprint of the day. And quite clearly the pressure is being applied now, and a lovely crowd here welcoming the race, and the rain has gone away and the sun has come out. A win there for Subaru's Bo-Andre Namtveld, Eddie Shaw as second, and Jan Zverada of the Lamprey team in third place. Straight after the sprint, 13 riders are clear, and Alan Piper is right in front of them.
With all of the teams represented in this breakaway, it's going to be difficult for them to get caught. I don't know who's going to be chasing, so the winner today might come out of this group. Lamprey's got 2 riders up there, and Motorola's got 2 riders up there, but former winner Phil Anderson is there. And he's the danger man, so I don't know who's going to chase, but they're going to have to do it soon.
But with a gap of 7 minutes and 45 seconds, it really is up to the British team to chase, because neither the Banana team or the Nielsen Tivoli or the GB Professionals are present. And in fact, it's the Lamprey team of Fondriest at the front there, just cruising along. They're quite happy to have their man Belly in the break.
Well, it's extremely sad to think that the 3 British professional teams have missed their chance here on the opening day, because the leaders are now approaching Brassknocker Hill, and the time check is over 8 minutes. Jan Zverada from the Lamprey team is setting the pace onto the lower slopes. This is a very, very difficult climb indeed. It's not too long, but it is the chance for somebody to springboard away and charge down to the finish in Bath.
Well, one man I can see might make a move on this climb is actually Heinz Imboden. He had a great battle with Phil Anderson when he won the Kellogg's Tour back in 1991, and he pushed him all the time on little climbs like this.
And this is the group, and still Maurizio Fondriest, for once not the team leader, now having to pay the team domestique and look after the 2 riders he's got out in that leading group. That's him in the white helmet and the pink jersey in the centre. and also Moreno Argentin is up here. So two ex-world champions now defending for lesser teammates who've made the split.
Well, the pressure really is on this climb, and it really is tough over the top, and you can see one or two riders getting tailed off, but in the front, on the left-hand side, you can just see the blue jersey of Phil Anderson.
Anderson stomping up this climb now to the cheers of the crowd, and they really are climbing very, very well indeed. The Mechia rider is Heinz Imbuden in the blue jersey on the left, and here's the latest time. And look at this, 10 minutes now the gap, and Belly is pushing hard on the right now. This is a young professional rider, no wins to my knowledge as a pro, but looking good today.
He really is putting the pressure on here, but there's Imbuden on his shoulder, keeping an eye on him. Phil Anderson up there too, but it looks as if Bo-Andre Nampvent is coming up, the Norwegian rider on the Subaru squad.
Well, he's on great form. He finished 6th in the World Cup Classic at San Sebastian on Saturday, and will be in action again at Leeds on our screens next Sunday as well. The main field, though, are showing no reaction, and of course it's down to the British riders. They realise they've missed the move because every one of the international teams have put a man up here, and Belly at 200 metres to the top of Brasnocker Hill is causing a little bit of pain on the face of Phil Anderson behind him, but Anderson's holding on, and now Nampvent is going for the sprint. Bo-Andre Nampvent, he's a natural climber, this rider. He comes clear at 100 metres to go to the top. He'll be the first over the top, and that should be good enough to give him an early lead in the King of the Mountains competition. He's gone well clear of the field, and this breakaway of 13 for the moment at least has indeed split up. Nampvent gets the 10 points, Belly holds on for second, Anderson third, Imbuden fourth, Le Marchand and Eddie Schurer. But the first 5 names there are now clear of the main field. And there is the main pack of the Tour of Britain today, and they've lost all interest in this race now. They're waiting to find out which one of their teammates up front will play the best card.
Well, they've definitely put the best cards on the table. In fact, they're leaving it up to the riders in the breakaway at the moment to try and come away with a chance of victory.
Now they're on the long swoop down off Brasnocker Hill into Bath. Phil Anderson's got the front. The 5 are surviving, but something like 15 seconds to the rest of this leading breakaway. And the scenery here now in Avon is absolutely beautiful. The riders swooping into the city, which is waiting to welcome the Kellogg's riders. They've been here before. We've always had a good finish, but this is a new finishing line.
There's not much of a gap at the moment. It's 10 seconds, so they've really got to keep going all the way to the line. Those group of riders behind, the 8 riders behind chasing, have got to keep the pressure on to try and get back into contention.
And this is the field now. They are a long way behind because they're only making the approach now to the base of Brasnocker Hill, and this is where they'll swoop to their left. And again, the Lamprey riders have kept control of the front as they begin the climb. The others are over the top and on the way into the city. The blue flag on the right there indicating the start of a climb, and the riders will not be too keen to contest this one because they're falling back all of the time. Big Ben Luckwell on the left of our picture there in that multicoloured jersey. Not a born climber, but a man who doesn't live too far away in Bristol.
These riders from Lamprey and Mercaia, they won't want to try too hard now because they know over the next week they're going to have to do a lot of work.
Now, this is a rider that would please Eddie Borisovich, the manager of the Subaru Montgomery team, Bo-Andre Nampvent. If he could get the win here, he hasn't won a real race this year. Well, he'll tell you that. He's won a couple of races in Norway, but luck has been out for him so far. He's thinking of it now. We're going past the beautiful cathedral here in Bath and heading across the city. They go right across the city before they approach the finish, and that's a long way yet for the main field because they're still out on Brasnocker Hill, and the last time check we got was 10 1/4 minutes.
Well, definitely out of contention for these riders, and they're just going to get it over. They're just going to try and get over the top of Brasnocker Hill so they can go down into the finish.
So Brasnocker Hill, the city of Bath, by the way, nestles between the Cotswold Hills and the Mendips to the south, and it is unique as the UK's only hot springs in the country. And the riders at the front have certainly warmed this race up today, because I think it's fair to say now, Paul, that the winner of the Kellogg's Tour of Britain in Liverpool is going to come from one of those 13 leaders.
Well, they've got a hell of a gap at the moment at 10.5 minutes. It really is looking good for them. And these riders here really have put down arms, I think, today, and they'll try just to get to the finish. This is Sean Yates from Sussex on the right-hand side there.
And Keith Reynolds, too, his teammate Chris Lillywhite was out in front for 71 miles today, but they've made a mistake now. They've allowed the breakaway to slip them, and it's not just today's race they're losing, but I think they've also sealed their fate on the race overall, because the gap is much too big, and Belly is going. He wants the stage win, because really, with the bonus system, it's odds-on favourite that the man that wins the day will claim the first leader's yellow jersey. And I don't know if you heard them, but I think Belly clipped his pedals on the bend, but he's clear, and he's making his dash for the finish.
Well, that was a good move there. He was definitely a man to watch. He rode excellently this year in the Giro d'Italia, but there's been a reaction behind it. Looks as if it's Phil Anderson coming up to him.
Well, Anderson simply loves racing in Britain. He's done so well here before. He was born in London, but doesn't remember too much about it. He emigrated when he was just a year old to Australia. Anderson straight onto the wheel of Belly, and without taking a break at all, he swerves around that motorbike and heads right up to the finish. Now it's up to the rest to follow, and they're in difficulty. Belly is trying to hold his wheel. He's doing well to do that, but Anderson takes it on the line. Belly is second, and then Bo-Andre Nomsveld crosses the line. So the 5 are over. There's only a few seconds as the race is brought over here too. And now let's join Paul Sherwin, who's got Phil Anderson with him.
Well, Phil, you're starting the Kellogg's Tour like you did 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was a little tougher sprint today. But yeah, I got away in a good group, you know, played it pretty calm back in the peloton. There were a few breaks, but you know, we got the boys together and tasted a little bit and kind of, you know, rode the race we wanted to.
Are you surprised that the break went so far from the finish? Because it was a bit strange early on with those breaks of Chris Lillywhite, and then all of a sudden the race was over.
Yeah, well, it wasn't so far from the finish. You know, today's just a short stage, and you know, you don't want to leave it too long in a short stage like this, because everybody's eager and thinks they can win a short stage like that.
You happy to have the jersey?
I don't know, it's nice to win a stage. I don't know about the jersey at the moment.
And the main field coming in is the Lamprey rider, Mirko Guanli, at the head of the field, just like Belly was at this point a few minutes ago, but he got pushed into second place by Phil Anderson. But Guanli is going to win the bunch sprint, and 10 minutes and 3 seconds have ticked by. All of the field are in, but they're out as far as final victory goes in this year's Kellogg's Tour. And the order over the line there confirms the overall classification tonight at the end of the first stage, and after the bonus finish times have been taken into consideration, Phil Anderson is leading the race by 4 seconds ahead of Vladimir Belly, 8 seconds over Bo-Andre Nomsveld, then follows Heinz Imboden and Francois Lemarchand. Chris Lillywhite, who was in the lead for so long but lost 10 minutes in the end and now is in 14th place overall. Sean Yates 52nd, Max Chiandri 53rd. The crash to Benjamin van Itterbeek, but he finished well, 79th position for him. And Tim Harris, the last man home today after a little bit of trouble near the end, 86th over 14 minutes down. Tomorrow the race spends all day in Wales, starting at Cardiff and going into the Welsh Mountains before the finish in Swansea. And when they get to Swansea, they climb Constitution Hill. Believe me, there's no hill quite like it. It's cobbled and it's very, very steep. It really is a sting in the tail. Until tomorrow night at 8:30 on Channel 4, goodbye.